My name is Debbie Reynolds. They call me the Data Diva. Every year I do a prediction of what I think is going to be the hot issue of the year. For 2023, the hot issue that I think will be in technology, data, and privacy will be the Internet of Things, or IoT devices. So we have seen over the last few years a exponential growth in the number and amount of IoT devices that are being developed and also implemented, whether it be in business or consumers being able to take advantage of these devices. As a matter of fact, in the year 2020, IoT devices surpassed the number of computers that people had within organizations. And as of the 2022, going into 2023, there are 29 billion IoT devices. So there are more IoT devices in the world than there are people. This number is going to continually grow. One of the reasons why I think IoT is going to be such a hot issue is because IoT devices tend not to be the most secure in terms of cybersecurity. A lot of times these devices are developed very quickly in order to serve a certain purpose, but I consider IoT device to be like a computer without a screen. So the devices, also sensors that are being used by these devices are pretty critical. The rise in IoT devices touches on almost any type of emerging data and technology innovation or risk. So that is Web 3.0, that's 5G, that's the Metaverse, that's decentralized computing, quantum computing. All these things have a bearing on IoT devices. Also, what I'm hearing from a lot of my friends who are in the cyberspace, especially if they manage networks for corporations or organizations, IoT devices have become the bane of their existence. So I feel like organizations, they are definitely trying to be on top of, say, like, desktop or laptop security, other types of devices that are in an organization, but we're having struggles with being able to find ways to configure these IoT devices, also to get makers of devices to recognize that they need to build more security and more privacy by design within these devices. This is something I want to be working on quite a bit this year in 2023, because I feel like the threat or the risk is already existing and is only going to grow in the future. So it remains to be seen how this is going to play out in 2023, but I think we're going to continue to see a lot more devices, a lot more risks. The complexity of computing is definitely in our face right now. There's going to be more data, so IoT devices will be collecting more data and different types of data that probably have not been thought about in terms of privacy regulations. There'll probably be companies on the scene trying to develop wares where they can find a way to fuse some of this data. So these IoT devices, depending on where they're located, may be collecting data from disparate areas. And so being able to sort of collect that data in some way to be able to make some type of sense out of it, I definitely see that as being maybe a big issue. I think the next trillion-dollar company in the world will be one that can do this fusion. No one does it really well right now. But this is an area of concern. This is an area where we see a lot of talk about privacy, also cybersecurity. And I want to see a lot more, not only standards, but also manufacturers being able to get on board with things like privacy by design and security by design, and also making sure that corporations and individuals are educated about the best way to configure and use these devices, or figure out if they should be used within enterprises or in personal spaces. That's it. Thank you.